So I'm going through the process to figure out everything that we need to do to visit our off-grid cabin this summer. One of the items on the list was what we were going to do for refrigeration. So a lot of times we'll bring our RV, but when we don't bring our RV, we have to bring certain items to kind of fill in for that. And this time we wanted a good refrigerator. We don't want to leave anything in the cabin, like a large refrigerator or anything like that, because that just inspires people to go into your cabin and look around. So we keep our cabin pretty empty, and what we need we bring with us. This company here, Set Power, reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in checking out one of their larger 12-volt refrigerators that was still portable. And of course I jumped at the chance. It looks like a really cool unit. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be bringing to our off-grid cabin and how we're going to use it. I want to test this thing out before I go, so let's put it through the motions. So some of the things I really like about this unit here is, one, it is large. Look at how big this thing is. It's huge inside. This door, this top piece here, can actually come off and be mounted here or here. So you can have the door open this way or the door open this way. That way you can put it wherever you want. You can have the controls facing whatever direction you want, and you can configure it to make it work that way. It's got these metal trays here on the inside, compartments that you can take out. You can fill them with things and slide them in and out. And it's got this divider. This divider lets you turn it into a single temperature fridge or freezer, or a dual temperature fridge or freezer. And it can detect when this divider is installed, so it will let you know on the control panel you can either use both sides, different temperatures, or if this is removed, the whole unit is one temperature on the inside. So it could be a freezer, it could be a fridge, or it can be both. So I really like that feature on it. It also has a drain plug down in the bottom. Although it doesn't need any kind of ice, you could still get situations where water or ice is going to build up in the bottom, and instead of having to lift this whole thing up and dump it, you can just pull the drain plug to let the liquids out. It's got nice convenient handles. This is a really large handle that will snap into place. So if you need to roll it anywhere, you've got a really nice large handle to do that. It snaps back in, or each side has a nice handle on the side where you can lift it and carry it. Let's check out the control panel. So this is where all the controls are. It also has vents to where the compressor and everything is. I like the fact that it has an externally accessible fuse. So if you plug this in, it has any kind of problem and the fuse blows, at least it's right here. You don't have to go digging in, taking things apart, or worse yet, no fuse at all. This is the connector where you would plug it in. It does say DC 12 volt or 24 volts, so it works on a 12 volt system or a 24 volt system. It's got nice rubber wheels on it, so you can roll it around. Again, it has that large handle on the other side. You can just pull that handle up and roll it around like you would any large ice chest. It does come with a 110 plug where you plug this in and then you would put your 12 volt adapter in it. Or if you're going straight to 12 volt, this is the adapter you would plug in, plugs in right there, and gives you a 12 volt plug on this side. So if you're in your car and you need to plug this in, as long as you have a 12 volt accessory plug, like we have one right here, we could just plug that in here, plug this into the refrigerator, and that's going to power it. If you're in your house, you could also power it, again, by using this 110 plug. You plug it into the wall, you plug this into this, and now you have a 12 volt plug, again, for the refrigerator. But that, of course, is if you have this plugged into your vehicle or in your home. When we don't have it plugged into that, we're going to either have it running on a power station or even directly to a battery. So I have an adapter like this that I use quite often to plug into batteries, and I just bolt this down to the top of the battery, and then I have a 12 volt accessory plug that I can plug pretty much anything into it that's 12 volts that uses less than usually 10 amps. But I think this one here is a little bit heavier, and this one's a 15 amp one. The great thing about this, and one of the main reasons I wanted refrigeration like this and not a standard refrigerator, of course, other than getting it out of the cabin and putting it back in and being portable, is that these don't use very much wattage. So this one is, I think, rated at like 60 watts when it's running. That's its normal consumption. That is way lower than even your smaller standard type refrigerators that are going to be running. Those are in the hundreds of watts typically when they're running, and they can push up to 500 or so. We're talking about 60. We're talking about many days off of a 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery. Or something like this. This is a power station that we use often. This is usually in our vehicles. I use it a lot to charge phones, things like that, but it also has a 12-volt accessory plug in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug this refrigerator into this 12-volt accessory plug. It's rated at 12 volts, 10 amps. That would be 120 watts. But I'm gonna plug it in here and we're gonna just check exactly how much wattage this thing's using to get started and run. So to do that, I'll just plug in this 12-volt plug into the refrigerator freezer. Then I'm gonna plug this into the 12-volt accessory plug. I just gotta turn the power station on. There we go. So luckily it's charged up to 98%. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the DC section on. And now I'm gonna turn the fridge freezer on. And as you can see, it says 75 here, 82 here. You can set the different sides. It even has the symbol here to show you which side. So this is the deep side. That's just standard deep side, which is on the far side. And this one is the deep and shallow side, which is this side. You have a shallow side because it's got a compressor right here. And let's go ahead and kick this thing down. Oh, it's already set to 0. You can just use plus or minus. So let's just say we want that side over there. I don't know. Let's put it down to 15 or 14 degrees. And then on this side, let's make it a refrigerator and do it at 34 degrees. It does have a max and an eco mode, so you can run it on max mode, which it's on now, or if you're trying to save even more electricity, you can put it on eco mode. And here we go. It's kicking on, it's running, and right now we're using about 30 watts. It says 33 to be exact. But as the compression builds up, as you can see here, it's getting higher. That's gonna have the compressor kicking on and building pressure in the cooling system, which is gonna make that compressor work harder, and it's gonna make it use more wattage. So as it's running, it is again in max mode. It looks like it's spiking up all the way to around 90. I think 92 is the highest watts I've seen so far being used. Well, there's a 93. And that's probably because it's just starting up. It was hot inside of it. It's at room temperature. And now it's really trying to cool it down quickly. I can already see the temperature starting to drop. So the 60 watts consumption is probably once it's at a standard temperature and it's continuing to run. So since I have this on the power station and not plugged into the car, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this in the back of the car running and come back in a little bit and see what the wattage is running when it is down to temperature. Well, that was actually really quick. I only stepped away for 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. It's already down to the temperatures that I set it at. It was off. I saw it just kick back on and it's in the 40s, 46 watts right now. So we'll keep an eye on it a little bit again just to see now that it's down to temperature what its normal running wattage is. And so far it's been pretty steady at about 45 watts. That's key for us when we're off grid because we're using solar power to charge our power stations, charge our batteries. We do have a backup generator that if we need some backup power and the solar's not cutting it, well, we have it, but we usually can do with just the solar power that we have as long as it's not like a really rainy, stormy week or something like that. And it kicked off to 0 again. So it does look like it will run for a little bit to keep this at the right temperature. In the 60s, maybe spiking up to 70, 80, 90 for a short period of time. But it didn't run for very long. That was a pretty short run for it to kick on, cool things down, and then turn back off again. So yeah, I mean, this thing looks like it's gonna do everything that I want it to do. Nice big compartment here that should be able to hold at least a week's worth of groceries. We usually stay at least a couple weeks, but we try to get a couple months in usually when we go that far. And I think this is gonna work perfect. I'm gonna put it through its paces when we go. If I have any issues with it, I'll update you and let you know, but I'm really excited about it. Anyways, I hope all of this information was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and y'all take care.